Coming to you direct from the Ghanaian capital, you're listening to Accra Live PM. You're all very welcome to this first of two special broadcasts live this Thursday and Friday from the Alliance Française here in Ghana. We have an excellent audience with us today here in Accra. And we have a lot ahead of us over the next 60 minutes, focusing on Ghana to West Africa. I'm David Coffey. Coming up this hour, we'll look into whether Ghanaians are going up or down in a volatile economic world. The temperature has to be tested. Reports from RFI's Laura Angela Bagneto, who is here in Accra to explore the music, magic, and the entrepreneurs of the capital. Fashion, shoes, and a few plastic bags will be the subject of our live discussion today. And Mohamed Polo, Ghana's footballing hero, will be with us all here to talk about the future heroes to come. And the music, well, you'll have to wait and see. There's lots ahead, so stay with us here on Accra Live PM. Now, on the occasion of the two special editions of RFI English Service's Paris Live PM being recorded here in the Ghanaian capital, renamed, of course, Accra Live PM, in acknowledgement and broadcast this Thursday and tomorrow, President John Dramani Mahama was interviewed by RFI's Daniel Singleton and France 24's Katerina Vitozzi. Now, Daniel's with me here. Tell us more, Daniel.
Well, the interview focused less on the politician and more on the personal side of John Dramani Mahama, the man. But first I asked him about his reactions to the recent spate of terrorist attacks in Paris, Bamako and Lebanon. Remember that the interview was carried out on Monday and therefore before the Tunis bombing.
We stand in solidarity with all countries that are affected by terrorism because it's a threat to our common humanity, our values, our democracy. And any country that is affected, it affects the rest of us. So we're in solidarity with France, we're in solidarity with Mali, we're in solidarity with Lebanon, and indeed any country where terrorism has been inflicted on the people. I mean, anybody could get caught up in any such situation. Anybody could have been there at that time. We have to fight terrorism together, and we stand in solidarity with all the countries that have been affected.
Now, Daniel, what was the contrast with previous interviews that you've had with President Mahama?
Well, the previous two times I interviewed President Mahama were in Paris, and President Mahama was then, on the second occasion, the chair of ECOWAS. Mm-hmm. So he had met François Hollande, the French president, and the questions actually focused on Ghanaian-French relations, on security, and on the economy. It was all serious matters. It was all a bit rushed, really, even though President Mahama was kind enough to actually make time to be interviewed. A number of important matters also came up, such as trade at the time.
Sure. Now, what exactly did you talk about this time?
Well, basically the interview that my colleague Katerina Vitozzi and I actually carried out focused this time on more personal matters, as I said, particularly on his formative years. We asked him why he had chosen the title of My First Coup d'etat, for instance. Mm-hmm. When the book came out in 2012, that was before he was actually elected president, and before he actually stepped in when Jonathan Mills died. Mm-hmm. It gave the impression that not only was he actually proud of his coup d'etat, but he was actually going to write more on other coup d'etats he might have carried out. In fact, it's nothing at all like that. President Mahama was 8 years old at the time of the coup, which obviously that was 1966, by the way, when President Kwame Nkrumah was toppled. He wanted to explain, to tell us how it affected his life, his outlook on life. But apart from that somber episode, the President, and I think interesting to tune in, actually told us about his views on women empowerment, for instance, but also his literary tastes, his background at university. He read history. He studied in Moscow. how he moved from being a socialist to a social democrat, but still believed that the state has a role to play. So it was political without being party political. I think that's what, at the time, the interview tried to avoid. Katharina also asked him an interesting question about his taste in music, which I think is one of the best parts of the interview, because you can find out more about it. So what I'd say is that if you want to find out more about the interview, please go to our site, our website, english.rfi.fr, and also on the France 24 site we might find part of the interview, or at least a video part, which is shared between France 24 and RFI.
So there we go. For a nice personal snapshot of President Mahama, you can go to english.rfi.fr. Thank you very much, Daniel Singleton. Now, moving over to one of the subjects that is close to the heart, I think, of most Ghanaians, and that is economics. I'm joined now by Kisi Agiman Togobo, who is one of two managing partners from the Songhai Advisory, that is a cut-to-measure business intelligence consultancy based both in Accra and London. Kisi, you're very welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's look at a few figures here. If one were to believe what one reads in The Economist or other international journals, Ghana is on a slippery slope, coming from 7.6% of economic growth, now down to 4% by the end of this year. These are the forecasts. Now, is this really the end of the world?
I wouldn't say it's the end of the world, but it's not a rosy picture, as you've pointed out. Back in 2011, Ghana was enjoying 14% growth, so it's a huge decline from that point in time. At the moment now, things are much harder, and I think if you were to speak to a number of Ghanaians, they would tell you that tangibly on the ground, it feels like things are harder. The cost of living has increased, and so forth. But it's important also to look ahead, and I think when you listen to the forecast by the Bank of Ghana and the IMF, they consider that by 2016, 2017, things should have picked up. And so Ghana should be experiencing better growth, not the double-digit figures that we had in 2011, but at least 4.5% growth. But it's also important to look at the reasons why there has been such a decline, and there are a few factors with regards to that. I would say, firstly, there has been a lot of overspending, and that has been a reason as to why Ghana went to the IMF last year, and that the program was put in place in April this year. That level of spending could really be attributed largely to the single spine salary structure, of which 70% of the government revenue was allocated to paying only 600,000 workers. Obviously, that's an unsustainable level. It far exceeds the ECOWAS standard of 35% of government revenue going on public sector wages. At the moment, the government has managed to bring it down to 50%, but it's still extremely high. Additionally, you have commodity prices, and we're all familiar with that. And Ghana is not alone in that. Obviously, a number of countries have experienced commodity prices.
Indeed, I mean, I've seen a few figures. I've been looking up on a few of the figures. I mean, consumer inflation is up by 13%, and more importantly, food inflation is up by 7.5%. Like, I mean, how is this actually tenable? Is this going to go up like that year on year? And people have less money in their pockets because, of course, the currency has gone down by at least 30% against the dollar, because commodities are much, just the commodities market is pretty much bottomed out.
Exactly. I would say that for a long time there's been a lot of discussion around the need to diversify the economy, and I think it's never been more pressing than now to really push in that direction. Ghana is different to, let's say, Nigeria, whereby its commodity base is 3 as opposed to 1 mainly in Nigeria, so with gold, cocoa and oil. But even still, we're seeing all 3 of those commodities on the decline. So what next? Well, Ghana has been pushing, and the government had said that, you know, there's a real push to diversify the economy and to encourage also made in Ghana goods. But without a reliable power source, that's going to be problematic. So power is really at the crux of this issue. Made in Ghana, we've been doing a project on social entrepreneurship around the country, and one of the key points that a lot of the entrepreneurs have been citing is obviously the power situation. So without that being addressed in a long-term measure, it will be more difficult to diversify.
Now, let's go back to what you touched upon a little earlier. Now, Ghana, as you said, has asked for a almost $1 billion loan over 3 years from the IMF. Now, of course, the IMF gives nothing away for free. There were reforms that were requested. Now, these reforms, what exactly were they, and are they reasonable?
Okay, so everyone knows that going to the IMF is perhaps a bitter pill
better
to swallow.
No more than the Irish, like myself. We know all about it.
But I think that at the point in time that the government did go to the IMF, it was between a rock and a hard place. So that seemed to be the only avenue available to them. So of course the IMF, it's all about debt sustainability and wanting to get Ghana back on track. And so the three sort of major pillars of the IMF conditionalities have focused on, namely in reducing expenditure, so cutting down on public spending. Already we're seeing signs of that with the government getting a better hold on things like the ghost workers and reducing, as I mentioned earlier, the public sector wage bill. But as we enter into an election year next year, I mean, typically Ghana has seen a spike in spending in the year preceding election. So that's definitely something to be watching out for. Also, the IMF prescribed that there should be an increase in the tax base. Typically, taxation has been an area which Ghana hasn't done so well on. Not to mention the fact that around about 70% of the population is engaged in the informal economy. So bringing them into the formal economy is a task that the government has to act upon. And then also the IMF was keen to emphasize the need to strengthen institutions and namely the Bank of Ghana. So, I mean, already we are seeing or feeling some of the effects of the IMF conditionalities, things like the removal of subsidies, and so fuel prices have gone up, and that has had a concomitant effect on the cost of goods, as you mentioned earlier.
Now, there is a 3-year plan to be put in for those reforms, but let's look at the bigger picture. There is, of course, the 40-year development plan that's being supported by President Mahama that would oblige successive governments to continue development goals. And now this was launched in August, I believe, and this was in the presence of as well as previous presidents, Jerry Rawlings and John Kufuor. Now, is this tenable? Like, is Ghana the only country in the region to have proposed such an initiative because of the constitutional security of the country?
Well, it is true that Chapter 6 of the Constitution talks about a long-term development plan. So it shouldn't come as such a surprise that Ghana has, in fact, tabled this. It's due to come online, as it were, in 2018. It has been a consultative process. There have been, as you mentioned, political parties on board from every political hue. Of course, there can always be more stakeholder engagement, and I think civil society groups have also suggested that there could be more. But the idea is to ring fence areas of the economy that should not be left to the vagaries of political mandates. So, for instance, infrastructure is one of the main focuses of the development plan, and Ghana has an infrastructure deficit of around about 1 billion a year, so it's a huge amount. So in order to ensure that this is something that transcends changes in government, it has been felt that there's a need to have this plan in place. So,
well, we can't talk about economics without mentioning literally the elephant in the room, which is now the second biggest export, and that is, of course, oil. Since the Jubilee oil fields started production in 2010, what has happened? Has that been a blessing or a curse?
I think that the oil find, it can be looked at in two ways. Obviously, it's a commodity, and there has been a lot of talk about commodity exporting countries and the need to ensure that there's a trickle-down effect. Perhaps if you were to survey a number of Ghanaians, they would tell you that they may not have felt the effects tangibly. Since the oil find, there have been measures put in place from a regulatory standpoint. So things like the Petroleum Revenue Management Act and the Stabilization Fund, the Heritage Fund, to ensure that even once the oil revenues or the oil fines are depleted, that there will be revenue in the system. So those are perhaps some of the positives. Other areas that need to be looked closely at are maybe the centralization of power within the energy ministry and the energy minister in particular. That has been something that has been flagged up a lot by civil society. When you have an oil fine like Ghana has had, there are a lot of ancillary services that come to bear. So whilst the trickle-down effect hasn't been widespread enough, you are seeing an uptick in things like the real estate development and the retail market.
And prices go up, of course.
And prices do go up as well. So the desire is to see that the trickle-down effect is more widespread and that most Ghanaians, if not all, are positively affected by the change.
Okay, my thanks there to Kisi Ajiman Togobo for joining us today here on Accra Live PM. And you are indeed listening to Accra Live PM, coming to you live from the Alliance Française here at the Ghanaian capital, in the Ghanaian capital. Well, now let's face it, when you think of Ghana, you think of great food. So we sent RFI's Laura Angela Bagneto in search of everyday goodness, and she found Champion Dishes. That's a popular two-story restaurant where office workers, mechanics, and business people all mingle to eat spicy and tasty local food.
It's lunchtime at Champion Dishes restaurant, and the kitchen is in full force with more than 20 cooks preparing for the 500 lunch customers coming through the door today. With a full menu that includes Western and Chinese food to the more popular traditional local Ghanaian fare, including jollof rice and various dishes presented with delicious maize and cassava balls of banku. A lot of time and effort goes into preparing the banku. After soaking maize for 3 days in water, then grinding it, it ferments for another 2 before being mixed with cassava flour and burnt. It's eaten with various Ghanaian stews, including Champion Dishes specialty, banku with okra stew. So what's so special about Champion Dishes?
This is a quality food around this place, that I can say. Yeah, that you enjoy your place, you enjoy it. It's affordable. Yeah, in the case of the food, the taste of the food is very nice. It's like you are in your home.
That's James Jerry Ankra. He's one of the supervisors on the ground floor at Champion. The ground floor serves the same food as the first floor, but it's in a more informal setting, cafeteria style, with electric fans buzzing overhead. Rice is 2 cedis, or about 50 cents, for cup downstairs, where you pay for what you want, says James.
Because maybe I can eat a lot. Maybe you cannot eat a lot. You prefer a 1 cup. I prefer 3 cups. So when I went to the restaurant, it's like you are eating the same thing like I'm eating. You cannot finish all. But this way you eat what you can afford. That may be different.
The lines are long as people select what food they want from the more than 20 traditional dishes. Fragrant groundnut soup, palm nut soup, okra soup, and light soup are also served as counter staff measure the spicy liquid and pour it into a small plastic bag that is double bagged for takeaway. Moses, an office worker, has been coming here for the past 4 years at lunchtime, and he loves banku.
Oh, banku is neat, especially with their okra gravy, with their tuna, and the meat is good. With the banku, you can take palm soup or granite. You mix it with the okra and the meat and stuff, it's good.
There are a few tables to sit at, but most customers get their food to go. The hustle and bustle on the ground floor is left behind when you go upstairs. This is where business people come to talk and share a meal. It's quiet right before the rush hour at noon as we talk about the restaurant's philosophy.
You just have to see the slogan. That's quality food for affordable price. Yeah. So you just have the quality food with a little affordable price, which you can get it. So and the taste and everything is okay. Prepared under pure hygienic condition.
Emmanuel Okoye is Champion's operations manager. There's a different atmosphere for those who dine on the second floor, but Champion tries to appeal to everyone, says Emmanuel.
We're trying to serve everyone, but some people don't like just joining the queue downstairs. So they love sitting so that they just being offered a menu so they can just order their food and eat. They just don't want to be in a queue. That's why we created this level for them.
As diners bask in the cool, air-conditioned room while enjoying special spicy jollof rice, and office workers wait for their takeout orders, there's a tornado of activity back in the very large kitchen. Simon is chopping chicken, while Vance is chopping carrots for jollof rice, just a few meters away on the veranda of the kitchen. There's no time to lose as the ingredients are prepared fresh every day. And if you think Accra is hot, step into Champion's kitchen, where Chef Aliou is tossing a spaghetti with vegetables dish in an iron wok over the open fire. Meanwhile, right next to him, Chef Castro is preparing the special jollof rice in an identical wok. It's hot, but the chefs work nonstop to make sure the customers are satisfied. We had a chance to talk to Evelyn, the head chef, who's been working in the kitchen at Champion for 16 years, to see if she likes her job.
Yes, very much, very much.
Why?
Because the work is good. I get money to pay my children's school fees every day. I don't have any problem with it. The work is very hard. It's fine, it's nice, the work is fine.
As 2 o'clock hits, the pace doesn't let up. Evelyn and her fellow workers will be preparing banku, fufu, kokante, and many other beloved Ghanaian recipes until 5 p.m. today. Reporting for RFI, this is Laura Angela Bagneto in Adabraka neighborhood, Thompson Road, in Accra.
And you are indeed listening to Accra Live PM, coming to you straight from the Alliance Française here at the Ghanaian capital. Now we are going to look at something else that Laura Angela, that was a great report by the way, Laura Angela is with me here, and she's going to join us today on the plateau to introduce our guests for our roundtable discussion. That looks at Ghanaian entrepreneurship and, of course, social conscience, one could say. But first, over to you, Laura Angela. You've come on the program today with a new outfit, made in Ghana.
Oh, yes.
And what was the process of getting this bespoke dress here in Accra over the past few days? Now, I have to just describe it to everybody. It's a very nice turquoise top, lovely little floral patterns on the back. Everyone give her a spin. There we go. So exactly what did all of this entail in getting this measured and cut and ready to wear?
Well, as our live audience can see, I've taken advantage of the fabulous sartorial skills here with my new Ghanaian outfit, handmade by Na Corde Clote here in Accra. Na of Miss Clote Designs makes everything, all types of clothing, traditional and otherwise, but her passion really is costumes. Now, she was at the top of her class in high school when she decided to get a degree in dressmaking, but her parents were really disappointed about that. They wanted her to be a doctor or a lawyer, but she said, no, I'm going to go to university. But here in Accra, there are no dressmaking classes at university, so she went to the Polytechnic. Now, she was disappointed that, dressmaking doesn't get the same respect as courses at university. I mean, she's a good student. But she said that's changing here in Accra. It's now been elevated to university level, which is good news for young designers. And her father has seen her drive and commitment to her company and has embraced her decision too. So now you guys have seen what I have here. Now we can talk about all the entrepreneurial fashion skills here in Accra and around Ghana.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Laura Angela. Well, of course, we're going to go over to our two very special guests who are with us today. That is Amy Yomekpe from Fashion for Change and Stuart Gold, who heads Trashy Bags. That's obviously making something old into something new. Now, first to you, Amy. Tell us about the inspiration behind Fashion for Change and Afro mod trends. Tell us a bit about it.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Afro Mod was born from sketches in my notebook back in university, and this was when I was getting my degree in architecture. That's what my profession is. But then, same story as Na, who made your lovely dress. The desire to create and have your product seen was just burning, and I went into fashion right after university. Same challenges with the parents, same challenges with funding, but then 3 years on, we've been able to make some strides. I'm actually leaving tomorrow to Kenya to participate in the Nairobi Fashion Week. But in all of this, I've realized that my business, the success of my business does not depend solely on the profits that we make, but the impact that we can also have socially. So that's why we brought up Fashion for Change by Afro Mod Trends. So I believe fashion is a movement that you can use to impact society because it transcends age, race, class. Everybody likes to dress up and look good. Okay, almost everyone, I think. But yes, we all wear clothes. I mean, that's one of the 3 fundamental things a person has to have. You have to be dressed. So I believe that using that to help society would be amazing to do. So that's what Fashion for Change is. We create an awareness of people who need help. We solicit support for these people, and then we follow through. We always have a way of making sure that what we are trying to do is quantifiable, and you can see the progress that you're making.
And who gives you the support? Who do you, who actually bolsters you up?
Well, we have a series of events. We do different things to solicit support. 2 months back, National Volunteers Day 2015, we organized a fundraising run up the Eburi Hill. So you register, when you register for 20 Ghana cedis, you have this bracelet, this very colorful beaded bracelet made with the Fashion for Change tag. This was made by one of the kids in the rehab home we support. And she made this for us to be able to raise money to support them. So it's not just giving money to people, but then having them also participate. So that, they're also involved in raising themselves and raising their standards and providing for their education and whatever it is that can also bring them up from where they are.
Okay. Well, Amy, we'll get back to you in a minute. I'd like to go over to Stuart Gold here from trashybags.org. Now, Stuart, Accra is still reeling from the effects of the floods of last June and the tragedy, of course, of the fuel station disaster that many attribute to the profusion of plastic waste here in the Ghanaian capital. Now, tell us exactly what Trashy Bags does and what are the logistics behind it?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Trashy Bags started 8 or 9 years ago, and with the purpose of collecting plastic waste from the streets mainly water sachets and ice cream sachets and so on, and turning them into nice products. And it was very obvious in those days, as it is now, as you mentioned about the flooding, it's very obvious that the plastic was finding its way into the gutters, and landfill was, there's hardly any landfill here, none left, and people just didn't understand plastic. They thought that it was just like the vine leaves they used to wrap their food in, that it would degrade. And of course, plastic that's not biodegradable can last 1,000 years in the environment before it disappears. So we started doing that, and actually we've transformed ourselves into a company that one would have thought we were a waste management company, but now we're kind of a fashion company because we turn this plastic into what we think are really great products.
We've seen them, of course. Laura Angela, you bought one the other day.
Yes, I did. It's adorable. I love it.
Well, actually, nowadays we use a lot of billboards. You know, and since Ghana was booming, which it isn't now, but it was a few years ago, there was so much advertising, and there still is. And the plastic billboards that are on the streets, we get them donated by companies and agencies, and we clean them up and turn them into all sorts of products.
And what are the logistics behind doing this? I mean, do you have to? Is it manual? Do you have machines? I mean, what exactly has to be done to turn a billboard into a bag?
Sure. Well, I mean, we employ 35 people. It used to be 60 because we used to have to do a lot more washing of the plastic. Now it's 35. So the billboard, it's surprising if you see it when it comes in. It's very dirty and in a real mess, and then it comes out like something like this. I'll show your audience.
Wow. Excellent. That was incredible. I mean, this is very high fashion. This is that's like something you could see in a Paris store. It's like it really is something incredibly modern, incredibly, almost could say glitzy. It's very nice.
Yeah. So I'm just describing it, but it's a messenger bag made with a grey billboard and with an inset of kind of a crazy pattern of billboard. And inside it's lined with fabric, which is actually new fabric, so we don't have everything recycled. And the idea is to try to mainstream. I mean, there is another product which is our most popular product, which is the one that...
Is it a wash bag?
Yeah, it looks like that. Or some people think it's a CD case.
It's a purse.
But it's actually... I'm going to get a chair now.
It is a foldable shopping bag. That is excellent. It's a tote bag, basically.
It's a shopping bag.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly strong. It's made from 65 water sachets that we've collected. And so since we've started, we've probably collected 25 million sachets, which actually sounds a lot, but it's really not a lot when you
break it
think
down
about how many people use them each day. But
Well, now, Stuart, we're going to move back over to Amy now here. Thank you very much for that. Now, can you tell us, Amy, exactly, like Fashion for Change, you said you're going to Kenya now tomorrow.
Yes.
It has been received in other countries. How has it been received in other countries?
It has been great. We had Nigerian participants at our previous event, the one we had in September, and they loved the idea, and they were also asking of ways by which they could replicate the same idea in their communities. And I said yes, because what we are talking about can be done anywhere and everywhere. So long as there's socially conscious entrepreneurs, it can be done everywhere. So I believe that just being one person is not enough. The more people who want to do the same thing that you do, that's when you have a great movement to impact people's lives.
I wanted to ask you, what sort of fabrics do you use? You are wearing a beautiful shirt that's orange and yellow and black, and it's a wonderful pattern. What sort of patterns do you use or styles?
Well, fabrics, I mainly use things made in Ghana. I mainly use Ghanaian-made fabric. For the collection we'll be showcasing in Kenya tomorrow, I'm using hand-woven batakari, and we are using fabric from Printex that's made in Ghana. We want to be able to use things that we make so that when we go out there, people ask. When people ask, the attention comes back to the country. When the attention comes back to the country, it comes back to us. And then it trickles down to everybody who is working in the industry. So it's very important to me for us to keep our African identity. I see a lot of designers using a lot of foreign fabrics. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me and my brand, I believe that using what you have is the best way for you to get out there.
Now, Amy, now you've you said to us earlier that you try to impact perceptions of social inequality.
Yeah.
Has it worked? Has the message got through?
The message is getting through.
It's getting through.
Yes, we're trying to make a lot of progress. I mean, we started this just about a year and a half ago, so I know there's a lot more work we need to do to be able to change people's perceptions about fashion, about helping. I feel every business in Ghana can be a socially conscious business. Every single one. It doesn't take much. It's just the desire to help. Once you have that, you can be able to do a lot. Just the desire and follow it through. That's it.
Okay, Amy, thank you very much. Now, on the point of social conscience, back over to you, Stuart. You have sent 2,500 trashy smart bags. Is that what we just saw? That's the smart bag? That is the smart bag. That's the foldable tote bag that zips up. You sent those to Paris to be sold at the COP21 summit that we are going to be covering. Laura Angela is going to be all over that next week when it starts.
Definitely.
Now, at the COP21, which is really the make or break for, people will say, for the rest of humanity, who do you hope to intercept there?
Well, I think hopefully, people who are attending the conference, and I wanted to raise awareness of the problems that we have in West Africa and Africa in general, that we get all these materials and we don't really know what to do with them, and we don't have the same infrastructure that they have in Europe and so on. But we just hope that people will love the concept and.
I mean, are you hoping that this will become global in any way?
Well, I think we have a particular problem in West Africa with the water sachets.
Sure.
And but then it's a very good material to use in this way. That's the thing. I mean, I would love it if we could make millions of bags here in Ghana, and use every sachet that's out there, because it's a fantastic bag, and we can change perceptions and get people to use them. Obviously, the idea for us is to push the idea of reduce, reuse, and recycle. And by using these bags every day for shopping, you're reducing the number of other bags you're using, the thin plastic bags, and you're recycling everything. It ticks all the boxes, basically.
And will you be coming to Paris yourself?
No, I won't actually. But
who's your representative on the ground for COP21?
The people who have organised it. In fact, you're going to interview in the next session, which is One Love and Lisa Lovett-Smith, and it's through them, and we're doing a joint marketing program there, and that's how this happened.
Well, it's a shame that you're not coming to Paris. My thanks there to Stuart Gold from Trashy Bags and Amy Yomeke from Fashion for Change. Thank you very much for being on the programme.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can listen or listen again to the latest newscast on our website, english.rfi.fr.
Now, we couldn't come to Ghana to talk together about Ghana without giving a precious place to the sporting prowess of Ghana's football heroes. For a country of 25 million people, one cannot deny that Ghana has been a country that has consistently punched above its weight on the African and world stage. I'm joined now by Mohamed Polo, recognized as the most technically gifted player to ever come out of Ghana. You're very welcome, Mohamed Polo.
It's a pleasure.
Now, you were in the Ghana squad that won the 1978 Africa Cup of Nations held here in the country, and you have a fantastic history behind you. But today, how important is it to have Ghanaian players playing in Swansea or in Leicester or Chelsea and playing in the leading leagues in England, France and Germany? How important is it for the country?
Yeah, I think personally, I'm proud of it because it's something that we did not get the opportunity, to do that. And if the, younger ones are doing it, we have to appreciate and give them the, necessary support. And that is exactly what we're doing now. I think, football has come of age. And we need to even do better than what we're doing now, because Ghana is blessed with the talents. And these talents are still there, but we need to, refine what we're trying to do with the talents, especially from the grassroots. These are the future.
Yes.
And if really we need to, get it done and done properly.
Do you believe that Ghana is nurturing that talent in the right way? Or do you need, how is the government, or what initiatives have been put in place to really develop the talent here in Ghana?
Yeah, that is the problem that we have. And it looks as if that is not the priority, which I think is not helping the nation to get the talents that we're looking for. Because some of us, if I'm being compared to the Messi of today, it shows.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That is a very...
Exactly.
But do you agree?
I think...
Were you the Messi of 1978?
Exactly.
Yes, you were.
Exactly.
Very good.
That was 1978.
Yeah.
But today, Messi is Messi.
Aha.
Yeah. So I think once, there is a talent like Mohamed Polo in Ghana here, I think a lot of them are there. So we have to look for them. And that is exactly what I'm trying to do, to nurture, the youngsters from the grassroots.
Now, looking at these players that are playing in all the big leagues around Europe and elsewhere, is their success good for the national team, or does it create a heap of prima donnas who think that they know more, of course, than the coach?
Yeah, I think at that level, you need to manage their egos, and then put them at the right places for them to perform. Every coach or every player, should be disciplined. Should not know better than his coach, because he's been directed by his coach. And if I can emphasize this, when I was playing, the coaches that we have, they never played football.
Yeah.
Unlike today, these are retired national players who have played football at the highest level. So it means they know what they're doing. So you must give them the due respect for them to help you to grow even better.
Now, how important is it, in your opinion, to actually have a homegrown coach in charge of a national team?
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. We have a style of football.
Yeah.
Just like every European country. we have a style of football, and our style of football, we call it agro. You know, just like the samba in Brazil, we have the calypso in Italy, I think. And today, we've seen Spain play football. Everybody, you know, is very interested to watch them play. That is how we used to play. We express ourselves on the football, but we play as a team. And that makes football very, very interesting.
Now, the coach now, Avram Grant, is leading Ghana at the moment, but I mean, we have to look at the successes. I mean, Ghana has come close to winning the African Cup of Nations in 2015 and lost, unfortunately, to neighbouring Côte d'Ivoire, and in 2010 to Egypt. Now, they've been to World Cups in Germany in 2006, they've been to South Africa in 2010, they were in Brazil in 2014. What are the secrets to this man's consistency here?
I think the president, Nyantechi, has done a very good job. The secret that he has, he needs to, pass it on to
the next successor,
who
should be Ghanaian.
Who should be Ghanaian. And then I think, we have an issue, with him, as far as the local, development of football is concerned. And that is where is found wanting. And I think man can do everything, but it cannot do all.
Now, just to finish up here on our look at sport, can you tell us who, in your opinion, are the hot names here in Ghanaian football at the moment?
As at now, I think...
do you want to mention names you think they might...
I think Dede Ayew is making a name for himself. Just like what the father did. Is taking the steps. And we have, some younger ones who are coming. But as at the moment, I think Dede Ayew, stand tall. And I hope the younger ones will emulate him and, continue from where he's just started.
Okay, Mohamed Polo, a football legend from Ghana. Thank you very much for being on the program today. And now we're going to go back to a little bit of the music scene. Of course, Laura Angela Banyeta, who's still with me here, has been running around town all week. Now, of course, Ghana is a great place for great music, as you will all hear shortly, and also hosts some of the best and the brightest on the music scene, like the Nigerian-Ghanaian Afro-fusion group Vili and the Extreme Volumes. Now, Laura Angela, you sat down with Vili and some of his band to find out what makes them mad, basically. What did you discover?
Well, they're quite an interesting group. They include Sam Ofori-Shiku, the bass player, and Johnson Houghton, the lead guitarist and backup, and of course, Vili Odili himself, the lead singer and songwriter. Now, they have an Afro-fusion style, and when I saw them this week here in Accra, I knew that you all would want to hear what makes them tick. So I asked Vili who has influenced their music.
I can't really say there are people that we are looking up to see the kind of lyrics they use, see the kind of sound they use, and try to follow in that step. But I think we tap into this other people, and people like that are like the great Fela, like Ebenezer Obey, like Majek Fashek. So many musicians all across Africa. Lifestyle, sound, music, content, we all tap into all this, then relate it with our current lives, our struggles, our day-to-day life in Africa. First, we are humans, then other things come after. I'm human, then I'm a musician. I see everything as a human. I feel everything as a human, and I act as a human first through music.
You mentioned the mighty Fela Kuti, and he was quite political when he was alive. Does that factor into your music?
Yeah, it does. Because, Fela was in and out of prison almost all his life just because he was standing for something. He was standing for the basic human right. He was standing for the right of the people, being able to ask questions, ask their government questions, because it was as if the people were under a label, like, you are the people, we are the leaders, you serve us. It's not the other way around. So Fela fought for that, Fela stood for that, Fela fought for revolution, and I think I'm a result of Fela's revolution. We are a result of Fela's revolution. Because of what he did, now we can sing and not get arrested immediately. I know that might happen in the future, but right now we can sing and call names of people we think that they have squandered the people's money. They are fraudulent, they are bad examples to the continent. We can name these names and draw attention to them without being arrested, thanks to Fela.
The songs that you have, you deal with personal human struggle, specifically on the continent.
It is from the grassroots. It is common sense. We have this hashtag we call #uncolonized, because we're also singing about colonization and what colonization did to the continent, but we're on the positive side, saying we can't just be saying, oh, we're colonized, you see, that's our problem, we're colonized. We can't say that forever. Yes, we know we were colonized. Let's move on. So, uncolonize yourself. How do you uncolonize yourself? Strip everything away from you. Religion, even education, strip it away from you and think as a common man with your common sense.
Apparently, President John Mahama, who is the president of Ghana, he is a very big Fela Kuti fan. What is your reaction to that?
I'm shocked, like 5 times. It is a good sign. That's to show us that he's not a zombie. He's still human. He still understands what's going on. But we don't understand what's going on. If he has all those records of Fela Kuti, then what's going on? We cannot see Mahama trying. We cannot see him trying. So having the whole of Fela's record in his house doesn't mean anything. We can't see you trying. How can an economy just be on free fall? It's falling every day. Nothing is getting better.
Yes, we know our government's bad, and we know, I say, the people are mad, What we don't know if the people want is change, Cause what we fight for, I'm not sure it is the same, Who not make me mad, yeah. Who not make me mad, yeah. Who not make me mad, yeah. Who not make me mad,
And you're listening there to Billy and the Extreme Volumes, and that song is called Make Me Mad. And of course, we're all here at Accra Live PM.
Governments go come, them go plant the flowers.
And that was great. That was Billy and the Extreme Volumes with Make Me Mad. But now joining me here on Accra Live PM is one of the rising stars of the Ghanaian music scene, and that is Noella Wiala. You're very welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, I will just kind of describe, I think, what your music is. Well, what people call your music. I mean, you're looked at as the sole creator of Sisala Pop, which you say finds its expression through the fusion of contemporary popular music, pop music, with the traditions and culture of the villages of the upper west of Ghana. Now, tell us about that region.
It's a small region. In fact, it's the youngest region in the whole of Ghana.
and we are a bit not fortunate with a lot of things that go on in Accra. Maybe sometimes when we are lucky, it gets to Tamale, and that's the end.
That's it.
Yes, and I'm from, should I say, a poor community, and but for the determination, and then let me say, thanks to God, I was able to break out from the community. But growing up in my village, I've learned traditional songs. I used to sing in the church. Whenever they had marriage ceremonies and things, you hear the traditional music. But I did get the chance to watch television for 1 hour, 30 minutes because we didn't have electricity. So you only get electricity for 1 hour, 30 minutes from this big generator. And that is if your parents are working with this NGO. So they get light for their work. So during that, we just get one television station you watch. And then during that, I would see a lot of musicians. I remember I used to watch the Michael Jackson ABCD song.
Okay.
And then I'll see other artists. And after the light goes off, I also get up and I start entertaining people.
So you did imitations of Michael Jackson.
Yes, and I imitate people. And one day I saw Madonna, and I saw her lips like with the lipstick red. And I'm like, wow, what kind of lips are those? Then people say, oh, that's lipstick. You know, you wear it. So when I go out and I get any color, I'll also be like imitating. So I do imitate a lot of people. But gradually I was realizing that, okay, I'm singing, I'm dancing, but thanks to the cultural dancing and drumming that we used to do, I was able to inculcate that into my up-to-date modern Ghana style of music. So when you listen to my songs, it sounds cultural, traditional, but up-to-date. So I call it contemporary yet traditional. Yes.
But I mean, also you sing in
Sisale
and also in English.
Yes.
I mean, just tell us about the actual language, Sisale itself. I mean, is it a lyrical language? I mean, just give us a little bit of a look at it.
Yes.
I mean, how would you describe it? Is it
well,
are there a lot of traditional songs that are only specific to that region?
Yes, especially when we have the Hanye. That's the only style of music you find in my village. Hanye, you just play, and anybody can come in with anything. You just look around. If somebody is eating, you just say, okay, and I'm seeing this person eating banku, but you are singing. Then this person too is standing there looking, say, okay, I've seen this pretty girl watching me. Everybody's just coming in with their own lyrics. So it's like one beat, somebody's drumming, and everybody's singing in Sisale. And Sisale, since I started singing in Sisale, it's very flexible. And it has this international appeal. Like, I don't know how, but you sing Sisale and people go like, is that Benin? No, what language are you singing in? And people are interested to know.
And will you be do you reckon that you could become the first Sisale superstar?
Well, maybe I am already. Well, I'm not trying to be all
No, you already are. But I mean, internationally, has there anybody else who has broken through, such as yourself, from that region?
I think Bliss the Ambassador is also from my area, but I've not.
No artists.
No. So currently, I'll say I'm the only one singing in Sisale, and I've been able to go out there to sing Sisale. I've been to Germany, Canada, and Holland, and I was singing Sisale. A lot of people love the music. Excellent. Well, they were not understanding exactly what I was saying, but there was just something about the language and the instrumentation that got everybody dancing.
Now, a little earlier, before we went on the program, you chose a song that we're going to listen to now called Africa. Just give us a little history on this song.
Well, I wrote Africa the first time I laid my hands on a guitar. That was the rhythm I could play, and it just came to my mind. Africa. Tell me why we wallow in, we fight. So I said, wow, this could be a nice peace song. And Africa, I wrote, I'm asking Africa, why are we fighting? We have gold, we have diamonds, we have everything. And yet, instead of us to use our energy, the physical energy, invest in equipment that can help us dig out these diamonds, we are rather buying guns and killing each other. So why are we fighting?
Let's have a listen to it now.
Yeah.
Gold we have, diamonds we mine. Yet we fight, we cover it all in blood. Tell me why we wallow in the mud. Africa, 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 yeah. Mama Africa, we cry for peace. Africa. The land is good, the land is fine. Gold we have, Africa. Africa, 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 yeah. Mama Africa, we cry for peace. Africa.
So that is Africa by Wiala, who is with us here on Accra Live PM. Did you all like that?
Thank you.
Now, Wiala, you began your solo career in 2013.
Yes.
And, it's only been 2 years since you really kicked out and went into the big bad world.
Yeah.
I mean, what has your experience been to date? And now, you've also played in international African music festivals.
Yes.
I mean, like in The Hague, in Calgary, and also in Hamburg.
Yes.
So, I mean, when you're out there, you're being pushed and pulled and pushed in front of audiences and marketing people and all the people. What's your experience been?
It's been great. It's like I've been wanting to do this for for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get on the stage, I just know what I can do, and it's just a matter of 1, 2, get set, here we go. And I just start entertaining people, and most of my performance, like dancing and all that, I don't even plan it. I just get on the stage. The feeling from the crowd, everything just keep coming to my head, and but it has been a great feeling, and I love all the waking up early rehearsals, even though sometimes I go like, oh, I'm tired. Well, I'm not really tired. I'm really loving it.
You're really loving it. So the lifestyle hasn't tainted you.
No,
you're living the dream.
Yes.
And now, of course, you're here today with John Sharon, who's your manager.
Yes.
I mean, what does his role entail?
Well,
is he going around breaking legs?
well, maybe maybe he's yet to. Well, he's been keeping everything intact for me, my recordings, my rehearsals, and he has really done a lot. He got me a lot of equipment to actually own my own band, equipment and everything, so that every day I keep rehearsing, so that I can keep better in everything that I do. Everything has to step up, and he keeps telling me, if you want to really make it to the top or you want to be successful, you have to work extra hard, because it wouldn't just happen overnight. So I get to rehearse 2, 3 times a week, maybe 4 times a week. So every time I go out there and I make my little money, some will go into my pocket, but some will have to go back into the music. I have to invest. Yes, so he keeps me in.
He keeps you in check.
Yes.
Now, you of course are a massive football fan, and we had Mohamed Polo on here. What are your predictions for the next World Cup?
The next World Cup. Ghana must win. If not, they should stay there. They have to win, because I wrote a nice song for them.
Yes.
Go Ghana, go. Unfortunately, I was heartbroken. But I have another one for them. And this time around, if they don't, in fact, they'll come and see me in Chambers.
And now, Wiala, we're going to finish up today, and you've chosen a song called Tinambanyi. Now, tell us about this song.
Well, Tinambanyi is... my mother told us a story about a young girl, and I took the lyrics from that, and it was just matching perfectly with Tinambanyi. Tinambanyi says, here we come, we are not out yet, or here I come, but now that it's a song, I just want to make it a we instead of the I. But when I wrote Tinambanyi, it was to tell all the people within my community that doubted, how can you get out from this small village, then cross to the town, go to Accra, who is going to listen to Sisala songs? But immediately I came out, they're like, wow. So I'm like, you underestimated me, here we come. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
This is it, Tinambanyi.
Yeah.